Hi, today we're going to talk about Data Lake Store. Data Lake Store is the place to store your data on Azure. Essentially, it's just a file system. Under the hood, it splits the files into chunks and distributes the chunks across several nodes on Azure Data Center. That brings you massive throughput for your data processing purposes. But let's hop over to Azure portal. I want to show you how easy it is to start using this one by creating the Data Lake Store, uploading some data, creating a service principal, and managing the access to the data. So let's start off by creating a resource. And click on create. Then let's give it a descriptive name. And let's also create a resource group. And I want to have mine in West Europe. And for encryption, I'm gonna use the keys managed by Data Lake Store. I could bring my own keys using Key Vault, or I can also choose not to encrypt at all, which I don't recommend at all because there's virtually no performance hit in doing so. It's like 0.22%. It uses the AES 256 standard for the encryption. So that's it. It's provisioning the service for us right now. It usually takes around 40 seconds. So in the meanwhile, I'm going to be creating a service principal on Azure Active Directory. So the Data Lake Store integrates with Azure AD, and that means that you can use AD users, user groups, and service principals from Azure Active Directory for authentication. So let's give it a name, and the sign-on URL doesn't need to be anything meaningful. Then we just click on create. The application ID is our service principal ID, and then we also want to create a key that will expire in 1 year for this case, and then we'll click on save. Then what you want to do is you want to copy the key and store it somewhere safe, because as it states here, you won't be retrieved it after you leave this blade. And we also got the notification that our Data Lake Store was successfully created. So let's navigate to that one. And the first thing you want to do is you want to enable the firewall. So click on. Then I want to allow access from other services such as Data Lake Analytics and HD Insight, so that I can actually process my data as well. And then I want to add my client IP address to the firewall. So obviously you would be putting your corporate network IP address range here. And then click on save. And the other option you want to set is you want to create a resource lock, add, give it a name, and lock type delete. So after you set this one, you won't be able to accidentally delete your Data Lake Store and all the data. So I will demonstrate that quickly. So if I click on delete now, I give an error message that the scope is locked. So that's exactly what I wanted. Let's continue by creating a folder and uploading some data, like so, and then we'll click on upload. We'll be uploading these two files. Click on add selected files. The uploads were successful. So then if I just click on refresh, I'll be also able to see them here. And then managing the access will be done through here. So I can use the service principal I just created, or a AD group, for instance, for our purposes, or like a single AD user as well. So if I wanted to give access to a AD group, I would do it like so, and here I'm giving the full access to this folder and actually all the children, so to the files that I uploaded as well. And then I also have two options: access permission entry and default permission entry. So the difference is that if I select access permission entry with this setting, I would be giving access to this family AD group to both of the files that I just uploaded. However, if I upload new files, by default they won't be having access to that one. So if I want to give access by default to files and folders created after this point in time, I would be using this option. And the usual case would be that obviously I want to give the access for these files right now, but also in the future. So I'm going to be selecting the last option from the list. And then I'll just click on OK, and then you can see that the assigned permissions are visible here, and they were successfully applied to the folder as well as both of the files. So a total of three items. So I think this is it. I hope you learned something today and that this was useful to you. Thanks for watching.